I was at the 2nd Avenue F train station, 2nd Avenue and Houston Street, and it was 11:30 on a Saturday night, because I'm crazy, I was going home. And I was walking down the stairs into the 2nd Avenue subway train, and as I was walking down, I noticed this dude noticed me walking down the subway, and in my head I was like, fuck off! And there was nobody down there. It was totally empty, and I was like, this is weird, because like that's not a sketchy area. I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, all right, you know what, I'll just go really quick through the turnstile and like go down there. I swiped my card, and it had expired. So I was like, this is weird, but I guess I'll buy another subway card. And I went up to the machine, and I was like, you know what, I'll buy the $2 card because I would hate to get robbed and lose the $1 card. So I walk up to this machine, I have my wallet in one hand, $2 in the other, and that dude who I noticed me walk down the subway, he walks down the stairs. I was like, fuck off. And he said something to me to like get my attention, but I'm a very suspicious person, so I like clutched everything to my person. And he made a lunge for the wallet. He grabbed at it, and then he put something against the back of my neck. Now, the reason I'm a crazy person is because the only thought in my head, was this passage from a Mary Higgins Clark novel. Now, has anybody read Mary Higgins Clark?
Yeah.
I heard one yeah. Oh, I said awesome genre fiction. For those of you who don't know, Mary Higgins Clark writes mystery thrillers. The plot is basically the same in every novel. There's a tall, slender heroine, not heroine, but like hero woman. It seems like she's dressed out of like the Talbot's catalog. And, in one of these novels, the main character woman is duped by the bad guy because he puts something against the back of her head. And he tells her it's a gun. And it turns out that it was a highlighter. He tricked her with the highlighter. So I'm there, this man has my wallet with one hand and something gets the back of my neck, and I am 100% convinced that there is a yellow highlighter. Like, this man has been waiting at the top of the subway, like highlighting notes on the 17th century train. I see my chance right now. And so I did what any person would do if they thought someone was trying to steal their stuff with a highlighter. I pushed him, and I pushed him pretty hard. It was sort of a hip check, and he was a small person, not like a midget, but like my height, and petite. Like we probably wouldn't date kind of petite. So when I shoved him, he went flying, and he was very surprised. And I should have been too, because in his hand was not a yellow highlighter, but a gun. However, I have to tell you that at this point in time, I was an expert on handguns, because I had just finished watching the first three seasons of The Wire on DVD back to back. I knew what a fucking handgun looked like, and that, my friend, was like an 1870s revolver. He was gonna have some, Abraham Lincoln assassination reenactments with me. Like, we were gonna have a saloon shoot-off. That's what that was. Like, he picked it out of his grandmother's armoire. While I was busy mocking his gun, he made another lunge for my wallet. And so, again, I clutched it close to me because my material possessions are more important than my life. And he didn't threaten me again with the gun. He didn't use it, so he just had this sort of limp arm with the gun in it, and was only using one hand to hold on to my wallet, and I had two! So I had the upper hand in the situation. And so we played a little tug-of-war game with my wallet that I have come to call the wallet shuffle. And the reason I call it this is because it went on for a really long time, and there was still nobody in the subway, and the only sound that either of us were making, the only sound the whole subway, some of our shoes. Shuffling on the floor as we fought over my wallet. And again, it went on for like a something. Isn't that what people do? But I just didn't feel motivated. It felt so false. So I was like, all right. You know what people do in a situation like this? They shout for help. That's pretty standard, but I just wasn't feeling it. You know, it just wouldn't come from a place of truth. So, as we're shuffling, I was like, you know what? I could do no. I could do that. That one sits better with me. I say no to my monsters all the time. So I decide to turn to him and go, no! Very direct. Like I was yelling at a dog. So we're fighting, no! I was like, no, that feels good. That feels right. So I start saying a little louder, no! No! And I say over and over again until at one point, I say, no! And it like echoes around the subway. And I was like, ooh, that sounded good. Girl, that was some nice support you had going. Your voice teacher would be proud. And as I'm thinking this, the man pushed away from me, and he said the most truthful thing. He goes, you crazy bitch! It was at that moment that all the logic came back in my head, and I was like, oh my god. He's right, I am a crazy bitch. And so we stood there staring at each other for a little while, and then I had forgotten this because I thought it was so weird. He goes, can I at least have the $2 for the subway? And I looked down, and there it is, still clutched in my hand. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I mean, I guess so. But he did just physically assault me. Oh, but it's not that much money. As I'm weighing the pros and cons of this man, my $2, he took off. He said, fuck this crazy bitch, I'm out of here. And he went away. And I stood there, and I was pretty much where I had started, like right in front of that machine where you buy stuff. And I was like, I could just continue.